I'm here with my buddy Rob. What is going on, Rob?
Not much, man. Enjoying this beautiful weather. Enjoying the start of baseball season. But here today, we're here to talk about the team that you're repping on your head there, your little Philadelphia Eagles hat.
Yeah. So today is Monday. It is our NFL show time. We're going to be covering a lot of the Eagles today, just hitting on a few points. Um, Next week, we will be doing a free agency recap of the NFL on Monday. So today, let's just jump right into it. The biggest thing is Jalen Hurts changing his number from 2 to 1. Um, I'm not going to jump much into their signings because they haven't really done nothing besides Joe Flacco, which I kind of find stupid because he doesn't want to be a mentor. But they moved back from 6 in the draft to 12. And they moved back. It seemed like Jamar Chase was going 5, and they were interested in Jamar Chase and Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson seems like he's going to be going to the Jets, and Jamar Chase seems like he's going to be going to Cincinnati. But then today there was a report that Atlanta may be trading the number 4 overall pick. Also, Rob, who was the other team at 7?
Detroit's looking to move back from 7, which kind of makes sense. They have a lot of holes to fill on that roster, so if they can gain additional picks, it helps them bolster the roster as a whole rather than just getting one top 7 guy, I guess.
So, with Atlanta wanting to move this pick from 4, Philly having a number 1 pick this year, and 3 possibly next year with Carson Wentz. If their mindset is Jamar Chase or move back, if Atlanta's coming off of 4, do you think it's smart for Philly to, maybe give Atlanta a phone call and be like, let's go after Jamar Chase now that we could jump Cincinnati even though we just moved back?
If that's their guy, if that's the guy on Howie's board that he has ranked number 2, because obviously Zach Wilson's their number 1 prospect, I guess, being that he's a quarterback and it's a more important position. But if Jamar Chase is the number 2 guy on your board and you have the opportunity to go get him, I don't see why you wouldn't at least make the phone call. If it doesn't happen, if they're asking too much, I wouldn't overspend to go get a wide receiver. It'd be different if the Jets were like, hey, number 2's open. Well, then
You give up
if Zach
everything.
Wilson's your guy, that's your quarterback, you sell everything. But I'm not selling everything for a receiver. But I would definitely have to make the phone call and consider moving back up.
Now, if you're moving up, say you end up getting a deal done with Atlanta and you're Philadelphia, you're moving up to 4. At this point, you're now sitting there between Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts. To you, who is the surefire guy that you would want to take at 4?
So I think they're both surefire talents at the NFL level. Um, but I think Kyle Pitts he's just different. He's on a different level than even Jamar Chase. Now, I could be proved wrong. Jamar Chase might be on that same level, and I think he has the skills to be an all-timer at wideout, but I really believe Kyle Pitts is going to come in this league and dominate from day one at the tight end position. I think he's a generational talent at that spot, and he's going to come out and immediately be a huge, like a Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, like he's going to be in that class within a year or 2. That's how good I think he is.
Now, the other option, being a Philadelphia fan and hearing these rumors, and if you guys have been watching my podcast, as soon as I bring up Russell Westbrook, I stumble and say Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson has been talked about recently with Philadelphia. So has Deshaun Watson. We're about 4 weeks away from the draft. If you were an Eagles fan, because I know where my mindset is, I want Russell Wilson. I want Deshaun Watson. I'll give up everything for one of them two quarterbacks. You know, Philadelphia, in my lifetime, in a lot of people's lifetimes, we haven't had that franchise Hall of Fame quarterback in Philly. And, you know, one of them two guys, especially Russell Wilson, he's coming in right off the bat. He's a Hall of Famer. You know, we get to watch something we've never actually watched in Philadelphia. But if you're a Philadelphia fan and, you know, say Seattle and Houston, I mean, not knowing exactly what's going on with the Deshaun Watson shit. But if they say 3 firsts and Jalen Hurts and, you know, maybe Zach Ertz, are you more open to the idea of going to get one of the two quarterbacks before moving back up in the draft at 4 to draft a receiver or a tight end? Or do you think it's a better idea to go get quarterback?
Quarterback's the most important position. You're not winning without a good one. I think Jalen Hurts has talent, but obviously he's still an unknown quantity about how much talent there is and how much his success was on teams not having tape. So if I could go get Russell Wilson, I'm going to get Russell Wilson. You know, I've been saying that I don't understand why the Raiders are out of this conversation for these two quarterbacks. Like, they dismissed it so fast. Like, I'm a Derek Carr fan. I think the dude is good. I think he's a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the league, depending on how nitpicky you want to get. But he's not Russell Wilson.
No.
So, to me, especially, you know, in our division, it's a tough division. You got Patty Mahomes and you got Air Bear. I don't understand why we're not selling the farm to go get Russell Wilson so we can compete with them quarterbacks. So, as far as Philly's concerned, absolutely they should be targeting Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson, I don't know. Homie's got a lot of heat on him right now. I personally would stay away. I don't think anything good is going to come out of all this. It's going to hurt him. It's definitely hurting his value, because otherwise I personally think he would already be moved if all this stuff didn't come out. Obviously, there's still going to be teams that are interested because you don't know what's going to happen, but to me, it's looking more and more like teams are trying to see what ends up going on with him before they really make a move at him. Because you don't want to be in the situation where I just gave up 3 first-round picks for a guy, and now he's going to prison, so I can't play. So to me, he's on my do not touch list right now. But if you're talking Russell Wilson, sell the house, the farm, the horse, the goats, the pigs, sell it all. I don't care.
So the dog?
What it takes.
Will the dog get me Russell Wilson?
I don't know. Your dog barks a lot.
Damn it. Shut up. No, I mean, to me, I've been a Zach Wilson fan, you know, all season long watching him play. And I was hoping Philly would have done something to go get him. You know, Robin.
It's tough when he's at 1-2 and the Jets absolutely feel like they need a quarterback.
You know, Rob and I were just talking, and I said that Zach Wilson's the best quarterback in the draft, but that's going to be happening 2 weeks from now when we start talking about these quarterbacks. I do believe Zach Wilson is the most talented. I do see a side of Zach Wilson that reminds me a lot of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I'm not expecting him to come out and be Patrick Mahomes, but if he could be, you know, a B- Patrick Mahomes, you know, that's definitely something better than that Philadelphia would have been able to have, I guess you could say, since McNabb, because it's really been, you know, jump around quarterback. I mean, you know, as much as everyone that knows me, I'm a huge Carson Wentz fan. Huge. You know, there was times this offseason where I said if the Eagles would have traded if the Eagles would have traded Carson Wentz and not fired Doug Peterson, I was going to be done being an Eagles fan. And everyone thought I was stupid for saying it. They were like, they don't understand. But when you watch the Eagles and they kept Andy Reid and got rid of McNabb, I do believe it was time for McNabb to go, but I feel like Andy Reid should have been gone the year before McNabb was gone. Don't get me wrong, I love Andy Reid. But Philadelphia does everything backwards. And, if you're going to release or if you're going to trade Carson Wentz because him and Doug Peterson aren't getting along, it's kind of stupid. Because to me, Doug Peterson has been an issue in Philadelphia since the day he signed the contract. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl. But nobody talks about that coaching staff. Yeah, you could say Frank Reich. You could say Frank Reich did all of this, but it's still Doug Peterson's call. They also had John DeFilippo. Like, it wasn't Doug Peterson and friends. It was friends and Doug Peterson. The friends made the quarterback better. You saw it with Nick Foles. Frank Reich sat down and said, oh, well, Nick Foles doesn't look that good since he came in to play for Carson right off the injury. Let's dig into the Chip Kelly tape where he was successful and put that into our playbook. And guess what? It got us a Super Bowl. So as much credit as Doug Peterson gets over and over and over again, Doug Peterson was a high school coach who got a phone call one day and said, can we put our hand up your ass and keep you as a puppet? That's what happened. Philadelphia fans love him, but
I've been saying since the Super Bowl that Frank Reich was the reason they won that Super Bowl. I've said it from the day the Super Bowl happened and I watched it. That offense was only as good as Frank Reich's play calling. It was not Doug Peterson. You could see it immediately the following year when Frank Reich left that the play calling was totally different. Frank Reich was way quicker to adjust.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson did not adjust on the fly in games well at all. And it was evident after he lost the guy who was calling his plays.
That's why I do. I went back and forth with this for a while, Rob. You know this. I wasn't a Sirianni fan when they first brought him on. I was not. The more and more I watch Indy's tape, the more and more I watch, the couple years he was with the Chargers, you start seeing schemes and the plays that them teams ran while he was there. Yeah, he might not have been the actual play caller every single time, but I feel like he's going to bring more to Philadelphia than Doug Peterson did in his 5 years. That's just the way I'm looking at it. And that was my biggest concern with Carson going out the door. And you saw Mel Kiper just said Philadelphia is stupid for trading Carson Wentz for absolutely nothing. Everyone outside of Philadelphia realized that it was more than Carson Wentz who struggled this year. Everyone inside Philadelphia, media, fan base, some of the players, all want to sit here and say it was Carson Wentz and it was strictly Carson Wentz. Well, when you got a bunch of pee-wee football 400-pound offensive linemen who want to fix their glove when Carson's getting tackled, or you got a guy like Matt Pryor who shouldn't even be in the league, Jalen Hurts, I understand Jalen Hurts was a rookie. I understand that. But Jalen Hurts didn't come in and blow the doors off of people when he came in. He beat a New Orleans team that had no idea what they were playing against. He threw for 400 yards against Arizona and still lost. And then he looked like shit the last 2 games. Oh, well, if he would have stayed in against Washington, what was the point of us selling the game to move back to 12 in the trade? I really don't know what people watched in that Washington game. It wasn't like he was driving us down the field. We had 7 points when he got taken out. Like, I'm trying to figure out why everyone turned on Carson so quick. Is it because there's this scenario out there that the Eagles paid Carson so he should be good every single time he steps on the field? Well, guess what? Anybody in the world, if you get a contract set put in front of you that we're extending you for 4 years and giving you $170 million, even if you suck, guess what? You're signing that deal because it's going to make your life better. You don't care about the organization. Sorry.
Nope. If the organization is going to offer me that kind of money, I'm going to take it. And then, I'm sorry if I didn't meet your expectations when the team around me is complete and utter garbage. We had 47 different lineups at offensive line that rarely included starters because they were all hurt. Oh, and I have no weapons at all on the outside because the first round pick you took that, you know, for lack of a better term, nobody had even ever heard of because he was not a first round prospect, and you passed on Justin Jefferson, which was stupid.
It's because Rager's dad is a family friend of
Um,
the Eagles.
oh, I know it was a political move. Oh, we want a deep threat receiver. Well, I don't know. Justin Jefferson looked pretty damn good on the deep ball this year. Justin Jefferson was completely disrespected in that draft going into it, though. He was talked about like he was a third-tier prospect compared to the two Alabama boys and CeeDee Lamb, and that just wasn't true. But, everybody looked at it as, oh, that LSU team was too stacked for him to be as talented as those other guys. Well, turns out that they were all wrong. I was right because I said Justin Jefferson was a stud, and but even if they would have had Rager healthy, the wide receiving core is subpar. Your running game's good, but Doug Peterson didn't call the run, so that doesn't matter. And yeah, your tight ends are both phenomenal, but they're not going to get you a chunk 40-yard play down the field. It's
No.
just not the type of tight ends they are. That you don't have a Kelsey, Waller, or George Kittle. So those are the only three tight ends in the league that are going to get you a 30, 40-yard play almost every game because they're all basically 6'6", 250-pound receivers, which is just insane. And that's what I think Kyle Pitts is.
But
So, I mean, I think that Philly team needs some work. If Jalen Hurts can be serviceable, they can do well. They do have to play this draft the right way. Personally, I think they should be looking at moving back up if Jamar Chase is that guy for them. But even if you don't move up, I do think you're going to get one of the top three receivers in this draft just based on not that many teams that are drafting in front of you really need wide receiver.
yeah,
They may take it. They may take it. Maybe one of those three guys won't be there, and the three guys I'm referring to are Smith and Waddle from Alabama and Jamar Chase from LSU. Now, at 12, Jamar Chase isn't going to be there because there are one or two teams that need a receiver in front of you. But I think Jalen Waddle might be there at 12, and I think Jalen Waddle has a ton of potential.
so
He'd be an upgrade over Jalen Rager immediately.
so to wrap my point around the Carson Wentz thing, as much as I would want Deshaun Watson or excuse me, as much as I would want Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, I don't know if the fan base and the media could take a player that's going to struggle because the team isn't good around him. And what's it going to be? You're going to, make the trade with Seattle, and you bring in Russell Wilson, and you give up 3 firsts, and you give up Jalen Hurts. Well, guess what? Seattle's receivers are 10 times better than Philadelphia's receivers. So if Wilson has a subpar first year, what's the fan base going to do? What's the media going to do? Rob, you know this. They're going to turn and say Philadelphia was stupid. They shouldn't have traded for Russell Wilson. He's washed up. We're paying him all this money. It does not matter it doesn't matter who's on the team in Philadelphia. It matters who the quarterback is. That's it. And you could have the 0-16 Lions as your team. And if you put Tom Brady as the quarterback and they go 0-16, Tom Brady's going to be the one at fault.
That's how it is around the league. That's the quarterback position. Is when you're doing well, you get all the glory. When you're doing bad, you get all the blame. The difference is between a guy like Carson, a kid like Jalen Hurts. If Russell Wilson comes in and is doing bad, he's going to be the first one at the podium taking the blame instead of trying to pitch the blame on other people, which will make the city happier than Carson Wentz going up there and saying, well, this and that, and the play calling. Russell Wilson will just go, yep, didn't play up the part this week, had a bad game, we took an L, that's on me, which is what I think the city of Philadelphia, yeah, they're not going to be happy if they're losing, but it's also that blue collar kind of city that really, like, all they really want is you to own up to it. If you're not playing well, they'll be more likely to forgive a guy.
Oh, Rob froze here. Hold on. As we wait to see if we can get Rob back here. While we're waiting to see Rob get back. So he's pretty much just hitting on the, Philadelphia's blue collar guy, blue collar team, city, and you see it with the Phillies, and how quick the Phillies went and jumped and became huge fans of Bryce Harper. So that's pretty much what Rob's kind of getting at with the blue collar and how the city reacts to a player that comes in and works their ass off. I'm the same way. I mean, that's why Chase Utley was beloved in Philadelphia. I'm not a Chase Utley fan, but everyone loved him because he was a, hard-working, good player. It kept out of, the news. He did what he had to do, and that was it. In my opinion, Jimmy Rollins was the better ball player, but we're not talking about baseball right now. I just feel that the biggest thing with Carson, Rob, was I got to do better. I got to do better. I got to be better. I'm going to work on this. And then he didn't get better during the season. And I feel Jalen Hurts is going to walk in and, if he has one bad game, is he going to walk up to the podium and say, I got to do better? I'm going to work on this. I'm going to do this. And then
I don't think you got to say, I'm going to do better. I think you got to just own up to the fact that you did bad. Philly fans don't want to hear some fucking empty words. They just want to hear what the truth is. And so that's where Wentz went wrong, I think, is trying to say, oh, I'll do better next time. I don't want to hear you do better next time, but I do want to hear that you played better.
So I got a question.
That's all I want.
I got a question because I kind of know the answer, and I would actually like to see this. If you were an Eagles fan, right, and Carson walked up to the podium, and they're like, Carson, what happened? Just, I don't know, week 4. What happened today? The team fucking sucks. We have no receivers that can create separation. The offensive line can't block. I look terrible. Doug can't call plays. As an Eagles fan, would that arouse you? Would that like you a little? Would he still be here if he did something along them lines?
No, because then Jeffrey Lurie and Howie would have got a stick up their ass about it, and the fan base would have loved it.
Yeah.
The fan base would have gone absolutely wild for that dude if he was like, look, you know what? I know I'm not playing that great, but neither is anybody else.
This roster's terrible.
And my GM can't bring in anybody who's talented enough to play ball at this level. So, I take the blame. I should be able to win us some games, but at the same point, like, how much more do you want me to do? How many more games, seasons, years am I going to be carrying this team, or are we going to get proper players in here so we can win games?
And that's what scares me when you look at Wilson. And, Wilson, he's been beat up in his career. He's really never had an offensive line. Yeah, he's had the weapons on the outside, but his offensive line's never been good.
Nope.
And then you look at Deshaun Watson,
he ain't never had a good offensive line either.
He's never had a good offensive line. He's been beat up. And you don't know exactly how many games you're getting from Watson if you trade for him right now. With everything going on, you might not even get him for the season. You might trade for his rights, and then he might not ever play again, depending on how these situations go. So
that's why I said he's too hot for me to want to touch right now. But
I mean, unless you're going to give him up for a third,
Wilson, you know what you're getting with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's the consummate professional. I mean, what's he been in the league? 9-10 years now. This is the first season he's come out and said, "Hey, I need help.
Yeah.
Get me better players." So for 9 years, that dude just took it. Instead of going out and saying, "Yo, I need help." Look at all the greats that really win. They're all vocal about their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning was always vocal about that roster. When Peyton Manning wanted a guy in Indianapolis, they went out and got him a guy in Indianapolis. Because he wasn't afraid to go up to his GM and go, "Hey, this is the guy we need. This is the guy I want. This is who we need." Tom Brady's never been afraid to say, "This is who I want. This is who we need." Now, and I think that's part of why he left New England, because they didn't necessarily go out and get him to help offensively. And he sat there for years and years and years and took pay cut after pay cut so that they could bring in talent. But for some reason, the talent was never on his side of the ball. And I think eventually that wore him out. And then he went to Tampa Bay, who already had more talent on the offensive side of the ball than most teams Brady had ever played on. And he said, "Oh, but could we bring in my two boys, Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski also?" "Yeah, sure, no problem, Tom." And they were there.
Yeah.
"Hey, I think Leonard Fournette would really benefit our run game." He's there. But if you don't speak up, you're not going to get those guys.
No.
And look, Russell Wilson spoke up. They went out. They got a couple offensive linemen, which is what he asked for. He said, "I need a better O-line." They went out and got him a better O-line. I don't know how much better, but I know one of the guys they got was Gabe Jackson from the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's a very serviceable guard. He's much better than what they had, because their O-line was awful. Okay, Gabe Jackson's not like a superstar lineman, but he's a quality starter in the NFL. So, these guys got to learn that if I'm an all-star quarterback and I'm paid, don't be afraid to open your mouth and say, "Yo, I need help."
Yeah.
Which I think Carson started to do that a little bit last year, but it was like too little too late. The team was already kind of, I think midway through last season, they knew they were going to move off Carson Wentz.
Well, I think Carson knew they were going to move off of him as soon as they drafted Jalen Hurts. And that's why I was so upset with the pick was you don't go and invest a second-round pick in a quarterback who's going to be a backup for a guy you're paying $34 million a year, knowing the cap hit's going to be $35 million to get off of him, and you don't have weapons for him offensively. The defense has been struggling. You don't go get a cornerback. You don't go get a linebacker who, you got a guy from who's our best linebacker right now, Alex Singleton. He's from Canadian Football League. So you can't draft well. You're not spending your money wisely. Yeah, we went and got Darius Slay with a third round or fourth round choice, which one of the two it was. But now his cap hit for the next 2 years is $20.5 million. The man's 33 years old. Like,
yep.
My issue is you're pushing these salaries back over and over and over because you want to make sure that you actually have the money to do what you want to be able to do. But at the same time, are we going to be paying Fletcher Cox until he's 50 years old? Like, you can't keep
Bobby Vanilla. You get a Bobby Vanilla that man's contract.
exactly like
$1 a year.
you keep moving these contracts back, and it's not like I could understand if the money stayed the same. So say you took Darius Slay, and Darius Slay was going to make $40 million over the 3-year deal or 4-year deal, whatever the hell it was. I think it was 4 years, $50 million when they first got him in a trade. But now he's got 3 years left, and the next 2 years it's $20.5 million cap hit. So you're telling me you gave him a pay raise to add on an extra year at the end. So when his contract's done, he'll be, 34, 35 years old, making $20.5 million, and we're not going to be able to move him because nobody's going to trade for him at $20.5 million. And
here's the thing: is that money guaranteed?
I have to see what
teams all do. What these teams all do is, they add on, and it's an apparent pay raise, but it's not even real money. It's not even a real contract. Look at what they just did with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay.
Gave him like a 5-year deal.
My guy 4 years.
Yeah.
Just to change his salary this year, so they could have enough money to bring back all their starters. Tom Brady's hit against the cap this year is $9.5 million. That's it. Because they added on a bunch of years and he had $30 million guaranteed or whatever he was supposed to make this year. Well, all they did was space the guaranteed money out over the additional years and then added a bunch of incentives on top so they can say, oh, we signed him to a 4-year, $70 million extension, but really they only owe him, 25 and a half, $30 more million. And the rest of that money is hogwash garbage because it never hits against the cap. Teams are doing it more and more. Going, okay, we're just going to add years on so we can spread your extended money so we can bring help in so that we can make more runs at the playoff. So they might have done that with Slay. I didn't actually see the details of his extension, so I don't know if they added guaranteed money. But even if they added some guaranteed money, it's probably realistically not as much as of a cap hit as people think just based on the numbers. That's the thing. You hear all these contracts come out of, he got a 6-year, $130 million deal. Well, how much of it was guaranteed? Because that's the only money that actually matters.
Yeah.
Everything else is monopoly money until the guy does what he has to do to actually earn it. And if it's an incentive, doesn't hurt your cap. So I can go, okay, Tom Brady only has $9.5 million against the cap this year, but when he puts up Pro Bowl numbers again, he'll probably have made $25 million this year, but that other $16 million doesn't hit against the cap because it was, if you start all 16 games, you get $4 million. And if you throw 30 touchdowns or more, you get $4 million. And if you throw over 4,000 yards, you get $6 million. Well, none of that counts against the cap. You still got to pay it, but anything that's an incentive, the way it's structured in the NFL is that money comes straight from the owner's pocket to the player, and because it comes straight from the owner's pocket to the player, it doesn't go against your cap. Because it's basically the owner agreeing to pay a guy extra money if he performs well. So it doesn't hit the cap for whatever reason. It's just a way around it. It's just a built-in loophole to the whole cap space system.
All right, so that's my input on the Eagles. Rob got to say what he wanted to say with the Eagles. I mean, it's literally a dumpster fire in Philadelphia. I'm sad that I have to go through this, but
deal with it. I'm a Raiders fan. I've dealt with it for years.
It is what it is. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. That's going
to a dumpster fire. We paid Kenyon Drake $14 million to be a backup running back. My team still stinks. They'll never not stink.
That's going to be it for the day. Tomorrow we will be covering the NBA and the NHL I believe I'm going to talk with Rob about breaking down the Flyers allowing Buffalo to break their 18-game win streak in our NHL show.
If you didn't see, I just shot myself because you said Flyers.
What's up?
I said if you didn't see my reaction, I basically shot myself because you said the word Flyers,
Oh,
and that makes me want to go jump off a building.
yeah. So I think for our NHL pod tomorrow, we are going to break down how the Flyers allowed Buffalo to snap their 18-game win streak after the night before almost snapping, or 2 nights before almost snapping their 17-game win streak, but blowing it in the third period, and then Philadelphia allowing them to actually snap it the next night. So that I feel like that's what we're going to cover tomorrow on our hockey podcast, and we got Joel Embiid back. Big Joel played Saturday night, so we will cover
The Sixers.
we will be covering the Sixers as well tomorrow for our NBA pod. They went 1-1 over the weekend. Joel looked good in his first game back. We'll break that down, and then we'll get into the conversation of can they compete with Brooklyn right now, because Brooklyn has seamlessly just doesn't lose right now in the regular season. Besides last night when they lost to Chicago, and it didn't help that Philly lost, but it's just going to be can Philadelphia get over the hump and get back in front of Brooklyn, because you don't want to be in that 2 seed. But I'm not going to get much into that. That will be tomorrow. Wednesday, we do have our MLB show. Kyle will be on. We will be breaking down the first 3 to 6 games, however many games are actually played between last Wednesday and this Wednesday. My Phillies are 3-0. We swept Atlanta, who seems to be the favorite in the East. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but I got 3 quality starts from 3 pitchers, Eflin being one that I've really needed to pitch well. As of right now, Thursday through Sunday, we don't have anything. I'm working on a few interviews for Thursday to keep us going with our 2K League stuff. But as of right now, we just got shows Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. As always, we appreciate you guys coming out and listening to us. You can follow both of us on Twitter. Mine is mhathaway23. That's MHATHAWAY23. Rob's is Rob Danka. ROBDANKA. And I think that's it. Rob, do you have anything you want to add real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah. Flex that shirt, bro.
Oh, I got you. All right. So this month, not many people know. A couple of the guys in the 2K community know, because I've definitely, since her birth, I've flaunted the autism. I've wanted to make sure that anytime Autism Awareness Month came up, or anytime we could give back to autism awareness foundations, that we would do something along them lines. My goddaughter, she has autism. Her name's Harper. So this month being Autism Awareness Month, I have sat down with Jelly. We will be putting out some kind of logo that will be put onto her hoodies and t-shirts. I'm going to get Team Harper put on it. I'm going to be selling them, and 50% of what we make off them hoodies and t-shirts, I'm going to donate to a autistic charity or a foundation, because I want to try to give back as much as I can this month, because that is like my little girl. So I will have the links for that as soon as we get that cooking, and hopefully we could get some money into a foundation here. Anything else, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it hits us both personally. It's his goddaughter. It's the younger sister of my godson, so it's the same family. We're over there a lot. It's something I've known and had awareness of pretty much my whole life, because my mom was a special needs instructor for school. and work specifically with autistic kids. So it's something I've known about and had a caring for a long time. So when we get that merch rolled out, we would appreciate anybody who buys it, any support that's shown, you know, share it around, let people know. Um, but other than that, we're all set until tomorrow.
All right, so we will see you tomorrow afternoon. Until then, Philly Frenzy out.